So today is going to really be a true sound check because my neighbors are playing music and it's music that could be copyrighted and affect my video. So this is definitely going to be a sound check for real, for real. This is a sound check. And the mic position. Sound check. So the hope and prayer is for my noise cancelling feature on my CapCut to do its job, because I could hear it slightly, but I'm hoping the cleanup will help. But otherwise, hi there and welcome to my YouTube channel. I was about to say welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my YouTube channel. The name is Gorata.Selaledi. I'm so excited to be here today. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Bestie, welcome back. We're growing the community. We're currently at 520 subscribers and it's so exciting as we move closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. Yay! Such a feat because I've only been back since October, so it's been 2 months and a month and a few weeks, and we've managed to grow the channel from 200 subscribers to 520 subscribers. So beautiful growth, and we're praying and believing for God to grow the community and bring more besties into the circle, into the fold, as we grow and improve on our spiritual disciplines of Bible study as a way of building on our faith. If you are new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. The name is Gorata.Selaledi. I am a faith-based content creator and I create new videos every Sunday, Monday and Friday. And for today's video, I am catching up to our Friday insert from the past week. I wasn't able to come on here because I had to give my son a little bit of snuggles like I'd put on my community feed. He was going through his 11 weeks leap. Google it, baby leaping. I found out about it from my mom friend Renee, shout out to her. But yeah, he was going through his 11-week leap, so he was leaping a lot. So I was trying to just be there for him and hold him and make sure he's eating right, because he was even sleeping through his feeds. So extra TLC for my son. If you are new here, I've recently become a new mom as at September 2025. And I am excited to be recording in my nursery. My son is not in the room today, sleeping in our bedroom in his cot. So I am going to have the freedom to record and speak as freely as I can, but we're not shouting. It's a calm, safe space over here. Oh, you see it? Won't cover. Anyways, welcome to the video. Let's get into the word. Today we are reading Genesis 16, and if you are wondering what this series is all about, we are reading the Bible 1 chapter a week and pressing into the lessons from that particular chapter for that week. So this week we are reflecting on Genesis 16. We are going to be here for the next 22 years. So by the time my son is 22, I will be finishing this series. So let's get into the word without wasting any time. So before we get into the word, as per usual, I usually do a check-in, and today is the last day of November, so I am going to be doing like a full check-in video where I'm going to be answering 10 questions to reflect on, like I used to previously, like last year. So I am going to be reflecting on 10 questions, mostly based on my relationship with God and the Holy Spirit in the month of November. So watch out for that video. I'll link it up here. I figured out how to do that now, so I'm proud of myself. And I think for my check-in today, I just want to share how I went to get lashes. I don't know if you can tell, but I can tell because my eyes feel slightly smaller than they do because of the lashes. But yeah, I went to do my lashes yesterday as a treat for myself as we go into the month of December. because I've decided, like I said, I'm not going to be doing anything to my scalp, to my hair. We're leaving it and letting it rest. And I decided what I want for Christmas. I'm going to be getting this Safeway 3-in-1 device that I saw Masabotsana Wigs posted on his status. I was like, yes, that's what I'm getting for Christmas, because it has that blow drying comb that I can use to straighten out my hair. So I'm gonna get that, use it to straighten out my hair, use it to do my, home silk presses. And I think I've decided not to relax my hair, because I can have it natural and still be able to do silk presses at home. So we're gonna do that, and then silk press at home. So the implication where I was going with that is that I'm not gonna go buy my Dark and Lovely product. Instead, I'm gonna buy a local hair product supplier, which is for Girls Naturals. I was using her a lot when I had my natural hair. So I'm gonna buy her products and I'm gonna be using them for the whole year. She just launched a new loyalty card, and the hope is to fill up my card as many times as possible. But really, the products last for 3 months for me, like 2 months. So probably by the end of the year. But I'm definitely going to do that as a way of supporting a young entrepreneur. She's a woman and also in business, so supporting a young girly in business. So that is my decision. So I'm excited for that. I'm definitely gonna buy it probably payday, because this girly yesterday, as another check-in, went shopping for home stuff, and her account is just bare. I mean, outside of the savings that I have in my unit trust, the account is just staring at me like and the sound I imagined was the I wanna go home. I don't know why. Anyways, how are you? How was your week? Today's the last day of November, so how was your month? I hope you'll stick around and do the reflection with me. There's going to be 2 videos today. This video is going to come out probably 6:30. The other video will come out at 8:30 to allow for us to reflect on the month. But otherwise, I hope you take time to check in with yourself. Check in, how are you? How's everything going? How was the month of November? My favorite reflection that I saw on socials was by Tsanupiling. She shared about her month. You can go check out on Instagram. But the whole narration, or the whole story time on her story, really for me, what it showed about her and her journey with God is that her gaze or her view is through the lens of God, right? And how she explained certain moments in her life was through the gaze of God. And I remember saying to myself, Gorata, this is how you're going to be viewing things in December. Any little win, any little distraction, any little thing that is, happening, you're going to view it from the gaze of, but what is God doing? What is God saying in this moment for me and for my family? And I really love that. And I'm sending love out to her for the month of December. But otherwise, let's get into a video. Let's get into this video for real. So I'm wearing my pajamas. I don't know if you can tell. They're not mine, actually. They're my mother-in-law's pajamas. There's a day we spent the night over at the house and I didn't have my clothes, and she borrowed me these and they never went back. That's a rule in our house. If something ends up in our possession, it becomes ours. So yeah, forewarned. But let's get into the word. I'm going to be reading Genesis 16 in your hearing. It has 16 verses. Interesting. 16. 16 verses. I'm going to read them in your hearing, and then we're going to jump into I'd say what stood out for me for Genesis 16 and the lesson we're taking out from the lesson of. And the title for today's video is God is saying, I see you, I see all of you, and I am right here. And I think for me, these are words that I would have wanted to hear when I was growing up, and I will share in my story time. So let's just get into the words and then we'll reflect. Also, I like how my hair looks side view. Look at it. So cute. Genesis 16, I'm reading the King James Version. It says, Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. Yeah. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, and her mistress was despised, and she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarai said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. And Abram said unto Sarai, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleases thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, and it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord that spake to her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahai Roi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abraham. End of the reading of the word. Imagine if you read the Bible only up to here. You wouldn't know if if the promise that God gave Abraham came to pass, how it came to pass. You're finding out about Hagar and Ishmael, and you wouldn't know what happens to Ishmael, although the angel said that you'll multiply him exceedingly. So if you stop here, like you'd never arrive to see if the promise gets fulfilled. So I'd want to challenge you to find a plan. Before I get into the reflection, find a plan that's going to help you to read the Bible in the coming year. I am doing the Bible in 60 days, and I'm going to be doing it every single time I finish. I'm going to do it again and again and again. But yeah, so that you get to, one, from a theological perspective, learn about the Bible for yourself, know the stories, know what happened, so that even in sermons or discussions and people are sharing, there's a lot of people on TikTok that share the word. When people share the word, you are able to identify for yourself that is this truth or is it a lie, right? And I usually think about how one day, like probably in the future, what's been I'm not sure if this is in Revelation, but my grandma always used to say to me that there'll be a point in time where the Bible is taken away from us, like the hard copy, soft copy, like the word will not be there at all. So imagine a time like that, and you haven't read the word for yourself, you don't know the truth for yourself. God says we should hide the word in our hearts, and I want to challenge us in the coming year to take up that posture, for ourselves. Yeah, so let's get into the reflection for Genesis 16. And for my story time, very short, but something that I was thinking about was how when I was in my teens, I cried a lot in secret, right? I cried a lot about the relationship that I had with my dad. Honestly, was nothing to write home about in terms of how he showed up for me, fact, not fiction, and speaking from a place of honor, honoring him still as my father. He is still alive. Honoring him as a man, honoring him as a father. But at the time, he didn't show up for young Gorata, and it hurt her so much. Like, I cried a lot, Every time he broke his promise, I would cry and go into my room and cry. And I had this trick where after I cry, like if my mom calls me, I'll say, I'm coming, and I would stare into the light. Somehow the light would help remove the red lines from my eyes. But I usually wonder if my mom ever really noticed. But I feel like I did I was good at hiding it. Also, I think. But anyways, in thinking about that period of my life where crying was my posture, I think I'm coming into today's video just thinking about people who may be going through a season where they feel as though God is not standing true to his word or standing true to his promises. Like for me personally, having had lived through that with my earthly father, I will say that it's really painful. Like simple promises, not even big promises like what God is promising Abraham in the Bible. Simple promises like, I'll come pick you up today, and today turns into tonight, turns into tomorrow maybe. And there's a time it happened during New Year's. I traveled from the north. My mom is from the north, so I spent Christmas there. Traveled from the north, came to Gaps, where my mom's house, and I waited for my dad to come pick me for New Year's. And guys, when I tell you that this man didn't come pick me up, and I spent New Year's Kilowan, I watched fireworks from other people, and my heart was shattered. So imagine earthly father does that to young Gorata. Her heart is broken, yet still, I'm telling you, I still had hope that my father loved me, in as much as that would hurt me. And I felt as though there'd be reconciliation someday. And right now in my adulthood, like now as an adult, I will say that we've found reconciliation, although I haven't opened up to him about all those times. But I feel the time will come. I just haven't found the right moment. It's a thing of he was living out his life a particular way, and in doing that, he hurt me. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but that was my lived experience. So when we look at the story in Genesis 16, for me, when I was looking at it, I was like, we're getting introduced to Hagar, someone who has been going through certain emotions, and the emotions that I wrote down is that she felt used, she felt dismissed, she felt forgotten, and that hurt her. Kore, also when you look at her story, is a thing of, she was also, from that point of being used, Sarai is taking her to be, conceive and give her children. And once she conceived, what the Bible says is, her mistress was despised in her eyes. I feel that this feeling or this emotion that Hagar had was probably premised on how she was feeling overall about the situation. I don't think she was, consulted or considered, or her emotions considered when this decision was taken. It seemed, or it was giving that she's just a thing, and not considered as a person in this scenario, right? And I think the big theme that I would say to young Gorata is that God sees you even in the places you didn't choose, right? We don't choose to be at a place where we feel lonely, where we are confused, where we're sitting with resentment. Those are emotions that come as per circumstance, and the circumstances just find us, and most of the time from how people are behaving towards us, right? And Hagar didn't choose her circumstances, the mess, the mistreatment, and the keyword that I want for us to really zone into is the wilderness. When she ran away and she's in the wilderness, and the angel locates her, right? And what we see from that moment is Hagar becoming the first person to give God a name and calls God El Roy, the God who sees me, right? And I feel every time I read that part in 16, and it's in verse, let me just check. It's in verse, it's in verse 13, right? I feel a lot of gratitude coming from Hagar's heart to say that, this is the God who sees me even though I'm living through this particular season of my life. So God doesn't lose sight of us when we are in our wilderness season. I think even more so, he sees us even more. There's this statement that I always like to say, that every time we cry, the Holy Spirit gets awakened, or he, our tears are collected. There's a fly in this room. I hate flies so much. And my son is up. But yeah, that our tears are collected. And for me, it was always such a calming thought to say, when I cry, the Holy Spirit is attentive and actively pursuing me. And that's what we see in Genesis 16. And I'm hoping that even as you read the chapter for yourself, you get to have your own God encounter from God to say that he is also pursuing you if you are living through your wilderness season. And I'm also definitely going to come back here, because life has its ebbs and flows. And, I've lived through a wilderness season the past 3 years. This fly better, yes, it's gone. Oh, thank God. Yeah, I lived through my own wilderness season. I feel like if I live through another season, I'm definitely going to come back to this video. And the title is very inviting, especially if you're living through that certain season. What I noted down is that the wilderness is not evidence of his absence. It's a space where your vision gets clearer, and the vision of who God is in your life, the vision of what he wants to do in your life gets clearer as you're living through the wilderness. So I'd want to challenge you to hold on to God with all you have when you're going through it. Like, it might feel as though everything is crumbling around you. And in Psalms 91, he'll say, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 shall fall at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. And for me, that verse gives me so much peace in my heart, because it's like, you're not exempt from hurt and pain. The world is broken as it is. But even as all of those things happen, God has given us an assurance to say that nothing will come to harm you, right? Nothing will harm you. We declare that, especially in 2026, over myself, over my family, over you and your family. I declare that now in the name of Jesus. So the last few points that I want to share for me that I'm taking from Genesis 16, what I'm seeing God doing actively is that he pursued Hagar at her lowest point in her life. And maybe God is pursuing you and maybe you're missing it. I'd want for you to reflect on your life this past month, how you've lived it out. Maybe God's hand is actually like over each and every moment you've lived through. Maybe you just missed it, right? I'd want to challenge you to reflect and spot the moments where God was there for you, and leave it in the comments. What testimony do you have for the month of November 2025 where God was present, where God's hand was obvious to say, this is not man, but this is God, right? And what I also noted is to say, feeling unseen is not the same as being unseen. Gorata at 18 felt unseen by her dad, but God saw me, right? God cared for me. Even though I was living through that hurt, he was there for me in his own way, right? And God meets us exactly where we are. And when I look back at that season of my life, I think the bigger miracles or the bigger presence moment that I feel God was there for me was through my mom, through my little sister, through my family. Like, I was loved fully, right? Even more because from my family side, each and every one of my uncles and aunts was present, even though my dad wasn't. So I feel like I had like an extra outpouring of love, even from my grandparents. Like, I think even not having the relationship with my dad pushed me to have my own personal relationship with my grandparents, you know? So I had like love multiplied. And by the time now my aunts and uncles started having kids and my dad started having kids, that love was multiplied even more because their wives, my stepmom, are like mothers to me. Their children are like little brothers to me. I mean, my siblings are. But my cousins are like my siblings to me. And the love I feel when I am with them is incredible. And maybe that wouldn't have happened if I had a close relationship with my dad. Maybe I would have been clingy and not been interested in having any other relationship with my family members. So, perspective, eh? And the last point that I'd want for us to reflect on from Genesis 16 is that God sees our tears, God sees our exhaustion, and God sees our fear. For the month of December, when you're feeling overwhelmed, if you find yourself crying, if you find yourself fearful, I'd want to challenge you to take a moment to pray. I pray, like in my motherhood journey, there are nights where I am exhausted and I have to leave my husband to sleep because he has work in the morning. But in those moments, I whisper a prayer and say, Lord, I am beat, okay? I am tired. Please help me. And I don't know what help looks like in that moment, but usually it transforms, and you'll see me bonding with my kid and singing to my kid who's crying now. So I'm just going to pause this video to go hold him. Let's actually wrap the video up because he's with my husband and I'm trying to learn this thing of allowing them to figure out the soothing together. Yeah, so let's wrap up the video and give the closing thoughts. So if you missed anything in this video, I want to just encourage you to say that God sees you and he sees all of you, sees all of you, and he's right here. He's closer than your very breath. That's what I said to my little sister on her 21st birthday. And I want to encourage you to get to a place of understanding. What does that mean for you when Gorata says God sees you, God sees all of you? What does that mean at the core of it? And maybe just to challenge you then, what prayer do you need to whisper? If you're feeling exhausted, if you're crying, if you are fearful, what prayer do you need to pray and give to God? Maybe there is no prayer. Maybe you just need to sit in the quiet and hear from God. But otherwise, I want to thank you for watching this video to the very end. I hope it has encouraged you, and if it has, and you have someone in your heart that you believe this video will encourage, please do click on that share button, share the video, like the video. Please do comment as well, and if you haven't subscribed and you're a new viewer, please do click on the subscription bell and notification button so that you're notified when new videos come up. New videos every Sunday, Monday and Friday. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. It's been tasty, it's been yummy. And my neighbor stopped playing the music, so we thank God. But otherwise, I pray that may God's favor locate you and may his grace sustain you as you live out this new week. And I will say that these lashes be making me speak with a twang. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. It won't work. No weapon For God will do what he said he will do. He's not a man that he should